recording this CarCast number, whatever number it is, I can't think of it right now. I'm recording it a day early. It is currently raining, and that might pick up in the audio, just so you know. But today I wanted to talk about dreams, like weird dreams, like fun dreams, and like daydreams, or like, you know, the imaginative dreams that you had as a child. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about some of my weird dreams today. Okay, so first off, I've been having a lot of weird dreams lately. Some really weird dreams. Like, I had a dream last night that I ran into a person at Walmart that I haven't seen in like 20 years. I say like 20 years, I'm only 19. I just haven't seen them in a while, and I saw them in person in the dream, and I said, hey, and they like looked at me like I was crazy. And that's basically a lot of my dreams, is seeing people that I haven't seen in a while, or, you know, seeing an old friend in the dream, and it makes me think, like, are they thinking about me, or is it me thinking about them, you know? And one of the weird dream types is like seeing friends. Like I see my friends a lot in my dreams because, you know, I don't get to see them very often, and even though I don't have a ton of them, there are some people that I consider friends that would not consider me a friend, I guess. I don't know, but, you know, I see a lot of friends in my dreams. I run into a lot of people that I know in my dreams, and it's a lot of fun. Now, another type of dream that I like to talk about is the straight up weird ones. Like, one time I had a dream that I woke up, right, in the dream. I woke up from my bed in the dream, and I walk out into my living room and no one's there, you know, and I started freaking out because, you know, if no one's in your house, it's like weird. And I was young, and usually my parents were home, so I started flipping out, right? And then suddenly these octopus aliens burst through the door, okay? Just out of nowhere. It's just like, and then they got lasers and they're pointing at me, and I'm like, oh my god! And then I wake up, right? And then I've had dreams about my house burning. And those are some weird dreams. I've also had dreams about like work dreams. Man, if you ever have like a claustrophobic dream about your workplace, you get out of that place and go find a new job, or at least start looking. Like, that's a sign. Like, if you ever have like a dream where you feel like enclosed in a space and things start going wrong, it's time to start looking at your life. Okay, so I've only ever had one real work dream, and it was about Chick-fil-A. And, you know, people always talk about how work dreams are the weirdest dreams. And I'm like, no, I've had weirder, but also, my one work dream was pretty weird. In my one work dream, I walked in. I was working, I guess, but I was ordering, so it's like I was a customer at the time. And I started to look at the menu, and while I was looking at the menu, everything like it all like shrunk and got blurry. And I didn't know what the heck I was ordering at that point, because all the things were so small. All the different little like pictures were so small, and the words had disappeared. It was weird. It was a weird dream. But after like picking out what I wanted, I wasn't in uniform, right? We weren't allowed to walk behind the counter when we weren't in uniform. But after I ordered, I immediately turned around, like walked around the counter and got behind the counter, and then started taking orders, still not in uniform. Like, man, that was a weird dream. Yeah. some of my more imaginative dreams happened when I was a child. Basically, 90% of what I dreamt when I was a child, or like imagined when I was a child, it was always like sword fighting. Because I've carried this into my adulthood, but I've always wanted to hold like a metal sword, like a real one, with a hilt and everything. That's just one of those things I've always wanted to do, and like actually like sword fight. Still haven't been able to accomplish that, but yeah. And then another one I had, which was I still bring it on the premise of like sword fighting, but back in my young days, one of my big daydreams was this superhero I called Ditto. It was basically me and this alien type thing, and it was because I watched a lot of Ben 10, and I really liked Ditto as the character, but like the ultimate form Ditto. So like the blue cool one, I'll put up a picture right somewhere. And I was really into him, but I was really into like elemental superheroes at the same time. So Ditto became this alien that I could like. He was basically the crystal from the goop monster from Ben 10, but fused with Ditto, the like duplicating one. And basically I took the crystal, and when I put it over my head, it turned me into Ditto, into this elemental Ditto. And depending on the color of the crystal, which me and the alien could change. I think the alien's name was Ditto, and my name was obviously my name. But when we turned into like our fused form, we were Ditto, And basically we could turn into goop, and we could also shoot fire and ice and earth, and it was super dope, and I loved that character as a whole. Yeah. Another character that I drew a lot of is like when I was young, and I like to draw. Another character I liked to come up with, I called him Falcon Blade. Basically, he was Iron Man, but instead of shooting lasers out of his hands, he had these like gauntlets that shot a blade out of his like the upper part of his fist, and he had these big round discs, which were basically they were small discs, but like when he hit them, they like puffed out into shields. So he had like sword and shield, kind of like the Iron Man shields, the new ones where he was like punching with them. Or the Captain America shields, what am I saying? Iron Man for it. But he also had those on his ankles too, the shields, but they worked more as like a mobility thing on his ankles. It's back when Heelys were a big thing, so like mobility being on your feet was a big thing for kids. He kind of looked like a transformer almost, with like tires on him, but it was shields on his wrists and basically wheels on his heels. And then he had this backpack that I called, I can't remember what I called it. I think I called it Ditto too, because I always loved the name Ditto. For some reason, it was just cool. And his backpack was called Ditto, but it was also like, it was its own mechanism and AI or whatever, and it basically had these pop-out wings that it could just like pop out, it popped out wings, and Falcon Blade could fly. He was a pretty cool, I think he was heavily inspired by both Tron, Iron Man, and just angels being able to fly. I made multiple different versions of his suit. He had like the Mark 1, which was the big discs and the discs on his feet, and then Mark 2 was the smaller discs that he could puff out into shields. And then the Mark 1.5 was basically just giant fists instead of swords, which was really cool. I really liked the idea of having different like like suits for different scenarios. But the actual Ditto character, which ends up being his bracelet, the AI character that was his backpack, ends up being his bracelet when he doesn't need to fly, right? And he becomes and as soon as he needs to, he just slaps his back, and it like Ditto transfers himself to the backpack form, which allows him to fly. And that was a pretty cool thing. I also had daydreams in the clouds. Like I was I called them cloud runners. Cloud runners were these people that fought. It was basically, you see white fluffy clouds, and then you see like dark gray clouds. Cloud runners were either white or dark gray, right? And dark gray was a species, and white was a species. And basically, it was a war between white and dark gray. And basically, if you ever saw like things in the clouds, that's basically where the premise came from. And my character was a half white, half gray character by the end of it. I think he started out as a white cloud, but he ended up becoming a half white, half dark kind of character, and he became the ultimate. Basically, he was just a mercenary. If he got hired to be on one side, he was on that side. He was pretty dope. He drove a motorcycle, and he was able to basically blast things with his hands like Iron Man, almost. But like instead of like a blast, it was either the dark cloud or the white cloud. And the most fun days were on days when it was storming for a little bit, and then the gray clouds kind of faded, and you could see clouds like turned into stuff, and that was a lot of fun, and that was a lot of my daydreams. Yeah. Okay, so again with dreams, I used to not have a lot of dreams. I used to wake up and I guess I forgot them. I do take medicine, which causes me to have really, really freaky dreams. Like this one time I was in like a party type area, and we were looking for a suspect, and it was almost like a first-person shooter video game, but we were like special agents, and we were like running around trying to get this guy, and every once in a while it would like zoom to the place where he's at, and I thought it was a really cool idea. There were so many rooms in the building, and you had to find the guy, and it was pretty awesome. And it's very video game-esque. Like the guy had packets of sugar, which weren't packets of sugar, obviously, but they were mixed in with real packets of sugar, and it either said sugar or that one drug that looks like sugar. I can't think of it. It either said that or that, and we had to like go through and find people who were using the drug, and we had to like stop them, and then we had to eventually, after we had stopped so many people, we had to find the guy who was supplying it. And it ends down a hallway, and you're like pointing the gun at him, and then or the whatever in the video game, and you point and you go bang. And what happened in the video game was, instead of you just shooting them, it was like you transfer into their mind, experience their thoughts, and then feel it. It's like a weird kind of sensation. Like you felt the pain and the like mental stress that comes along with getting something shot at you. It's kind of funky. And that's a part of my like weird dreams that I consider like really, really, really weird. I have a lot of superhero dreams. That's a lot of my dreams, is me being a superhero. I like being like the super buff superhero, Yeah, it was basically it was a lot of fun. My childhood was a lot of fun too. And just like all around, you know, all the dreams I've had, all the dreams I remember, I don't have those like general dream tropes, you know, like everybody's like, oh my gosh, I was falling off a building, oh my gosh, I was naked in school, oh my gosh, I died, blah 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 blah, like those kind of dreams. I've never had one of those. You know, the generic type dreams. I've never had a generic type of dream, you know. I've always had the weird, wacky ones, or like the, you know, the very surreal ones. I've only lucid dreamed once, and I only know I was lucid dreaming because, you know, I had full control over everything. And that was a lot of fun because I got to meet a lot of my, you know, subconscious superheroes like Falcon Blade and Ditto, and, you know, I got to meet them in person, even though it was just me, but like them, you know, it was me mentally controlling their ideals and like everything in the end. So that was kind of cool, and it's a lot of my dreaming is like crazy and wacky like that. That's a lot of fun. I've always considered dreams to be a fun thing. It's never like a scary thing to me. But I do have a lot of running into people at Walmart scenarios. Like that's a lot of some of my dreams are like that. It's just, you know, me running into a friend at Walmart, and either we end up, you know, catching up, or we end up, you know, not talking at all. And that's the difference between my two Walmart kind of ones. Okay, so that's it for car vlog number 8. You know, there's a subscribe button right here. There's a video right here. Catch you later.